What is up? This is CommStudios coming at you with my first tutorial. This is going to be a tutorial on making pop-out logos or AVIs, and I'm going to do some more tutorials, probably like make a tutorial on how to do thumbnails and backgrounds, white backgrounds, black backgrounds, and stuff like that. Maybe like different styles of AVIs and different things like that. But today we're going to be using the liked logo. We're going to be making an AVI. Let me open up a picture real quick. When you're finding the picture you want to be as the AVI, you're definitely going to want to have a picture that's high quality. Like, make sure it's not foggy or anything, fuzzy or anything. Make sure that it's something interesting looking, something that could be popping out, you know. You don't want anything boring, you don't want anything low quality. You want this to be high quality stuff so people will be like, oh, this guy's good. So let's find a picture real quick. I know I've used that one before. I think let's just go with, this one right here. Now this is sort of a cartoony look. If you want different effects or whatever, you can have like a more HD sort of look. You can have cartoony, you can have whatever you want. But basically, you're going to take your picture. You're probably going to have to copy it. Control J is a quick way to copy a new layer because the first layer is always locked most of the time. And then you can just drag the first layer over top of this tab here. It'll go over your picture or whatever you have. I have a calic, I don't know how you say it, on this. You can turn that off if you want. I think it adds a little bit of detail and stuff like that that you might want. So the first thing you want to do is you want to position your you're gonna want to position your picture over your logo. So drop the opacity so you can sort of see where it is. Sorry, I can't really talk right now. I just woke up. But you're gonna want to position it somewhere that it would fit pretty well and not obstruct too much of your logo and still get the effect across that you want. So I think this right here is pretty good. Once you have it positioned, you take your picture. Well, first of all, you're going to want, here, I'll hide that really quick. Whenever you have your logo, you're going to want to make sure that you have your logo on top, which is this. You can't really tell, but it's the logo on top. And then you're going to want to copy your logo, put it underneath, and put a stroke on it. See, like this white stroke I have? You're going to want that. It adds a ton of detail to it. So when you add the stroke like that, and then you have the one on top, you want to click on the layer that your picture, hold Alt between the two layers of the one that does not have a stroke, left click, and it makes it, what's it called? A clipping mask of the first layer. So then you want to put 100% back on it. So it's like that. You're going to want to, now that you have it positioned where you want, you can copy the layer of the picture. You'll put on another picture on top, drop that to 50%. Now this is where the part that gets a little tricky, not really tricky, but time consuming. And this is the pin tool. You're going to want to go down to pin tool. You're going to want to zoom in a lot. That way you can get all the detail you want into the picture. And you're going to want to do this. Pin tool, the whole thing. I might leave out some of it just for this video. I do a lot there, but yeah, so I'm going to fast forward and you guys see after something pin tool. Alright, now that you pretty much have what you want pin tooled, see how I pin tooled this area right here? What you're going to want to do is you're going to make sure that the pin tool does overlap the white stroke. You can barely see it right there. There's white stroke right there. You want to make sure it overlaps that. That way it looks like it's popping out. That's the reason why we made the white stroke in the first place. And you're going to want to just bring it down and overlap what you want to overlap. See how there's this little white stroke right there? I'm going to overlap just the arm. Leave the other parts underlapping it, and then you just bring it around and you connect it. Now you want to right click, go to make selection, press OK, make sure it's 0 pixels, that way it's going to be pretty crappy because I just quickly did this, but make sure you have the layer selected, that's the top layer, put it back to 100%, I don't know if this is necessary, but I just like doing that. Control C, Control V, which makes a new it just copies whatever you had selected. Drop the opacity again. Make sure there's nothing else you want to copy or whatever, like you want to do that with. Put it back lower, see if there's I think that's fine how it is right there. That gets the point across, I think. And then what you want to do, put this layer back to about 100%. I'm about to sneeze. Put it beneath the logos here, like so. Put it beneath the logos like that. And then what you want to do is, well, what I do for my design, well, basically, okay, I'll just tell you what you could do. You could hide it, it'll be like that, and then you could put whatever background you want, and then if you wanted to, you could color the text or whatever. But I'm just going to show you guys what I do for my pop-out logos. I think it works out pretty well. And what I do is I take it, drop it to about 85%, or maybe a little less than that. I'll drop it to about 50%. So it's still like, you can still sort of see it. And then what I'm going to do is I want to copy this layer, take the one that's underneath, Control T, stretch it to about where it fills up the thing right there. That way it's like going throughout it. Take the top layer again, go to Filter, Blur, Radial Blur, go to Zoom about 35, give or take, and do the exact same thing, Filter, Blur, Radial Blur, Zoom 35, and it mixes it all together. It makes it look pretty nice. There might be a little stuff. It just adds character though, so it's fine. And then what you want to do, or what I do, is I copy this layer again. I could have done this earlier, but I forgot. Go up, bring it above the name. Hold down Alt, put it over the name like so. Then you can use the Move tool and move it around till the letters look pretty cool. You want them to be able to show, so make sure there's something like that. That looks good. Now that we have that done, we are almost done with the whole thing. Now what you want to do is you want to go down to the layer you copied, and then see how it has the little clipping mask like that. You want to hold down Control, click that in the first layer. Make sure that's selected, and then click the first layer. Hold down Control still, and press E. It connects them as one. Do the same thing with the little clipping, the thing that you pin tooled. So that makes this whole thing one layer. That right there is one layer. So what you're going to do is you're going to double click beside the text right there. What I do is I put inner shadow on. I bring the distance down to 0, put choke on about 4 or 5. Bring the size up till it looks decent. I think that's fine right there. Press OK. Then you're going to want to you're going to want to merge the bottom layer with the top layer. Double click that, add drop layer, or drop shadow, my bad. Bring distance down to 0, spread a little higher, about 12. Maybe drop the spread it down a tiny bit to about 10. And put the size on about 57. Depends on how it looks, how big the thing is in the first place, because different size logos will look different with different size pixel things. But I'm sorry, I have sort of a cold right now. But then what you're going to want to do is do the same thing with the name or the text. Merge that, double click, but this time you're going to want to put an inner shadow and drop shadow, put down to 0, distance about, alright, that about 4. Maybe drop that down to about 2. And that's good right there. Put a drop shadow on this bad boy. 0, spread about 5. And that's perfect right there. Now that it looks like it's sort of done, now this is the effect I add. You don't have to do this. You could be done right now if you wanted to. It'd still look pretty sick. But what I do is I go down to Set File, Save for Web and Devices. Make sure PNG 24 is selected, transparency checked, interlaced unchecked, and you press Save. Now you're going to want to make sure you want to save it where you want. Make sure you save any spot that you'll remember. Obviously, I probably shouldn't have to tell you guys that. I save it in logos. I'll just put tutorial 1. Save. we go. Now that saved that, we can close this out. We don't need that anymore. Close that. We don't need. I don't even know why that was up there. And then you open it again. Now this is where my effect comes in. You open it, go to wherever you saved it. Oh, that's why. Sorry guys. Kind of unorganized here. Right here. Open her up. You want to make a new layer. Double click it. Uncheck the green channel. Press OK. Make sure Move tool is selected and press right on the little tiny right arrow about 4 times, and then press left a couple times until you think it looks good. I think that's fine right there. Save it again. Go to File, or Save for Web and Devices, and then just press Save. And press Save. And replace it, yes. And then open it again. It will update it, or it will ask to update, and you press OK. Update. And then it puts it back down to 1 layer. Put a new layer on top. Now this is where I add another little effect of mine. I press Control T, Shift and Alt. I want to drag a little bit about there. Shift and Alt basically makes it where it doesn't move from the center. And then now that it's a little bigger like that, you go to Filter, Blur, and do the same radial blur that you did before. Radial blur, 35% on zoom. And I probably should have put best quality. Forgot about that, my bad. But I would normally do best quality right there. Then you get the eraser tool. Make sure it's on a low opacity and a low hardness. And a pretty big eraser. I'll make it a little bigger here. About 170 pixels. And then you just click rapidly, like so. Erase over the original logo. And then, wait here, I'm going to drop this down to about 65%. There we go. And then erase over the original logo. This just adds a little depth of field to the logo. Makes it look just that much more nice. Just that much better. Makes it look high definition. And just blends everything together perfectly. Now that that's done, you're going to want to save it again. And also a little trick is if you want to see what it's going to look like small, just put your cursor, just hover it over there, over your little Photoshop emblem thing, and you can see what it would sort of look like a little smaller. It's not going to be the exact what it's going to look like, but it all depends on the size of the picture and everything, but it has a lot of factors to it. But then you save it again. Yes. And then once it's done saving, it might take a while sometimes. I don't know why it does that, but open her back up. Open. Update. Now this is the final touch. Make a new layer. Go to the Marquee tool, the little square rectangular Marquee tool. Hold down Shift and drag over. This is how I make my glitch effect. Drag over the logo like so. Make just different sized rectangles. Then you're going to want to go over to the first layer. Or no, you don't do that yet. You press Control C, Control V. Click on the new layer that it created. Double click. Uncheck the red and blue. Press OK. Press the Move tool. Press Control T. And move this up just a couple inches. Or not inches, a couple millimeters. And see how it makes those little tiny glitches on there like so? Now that's how I do that. And then what you're going to want to do is click on the first layer again. Do the Marquee tool. Then this part's not necessary. I don't know, sometimes it makes it look better, sometimes it doesn't. But you just do the same sort of thing. But this time, instead of clicking the channels, you're going to want to just Control C, Control V. You're just going to want to Control T and move it without clicking the channels. It will actually move the picture itself instead of just the channels of the picture. Just adds a little glitch to it. You want to do you're going to want to do the same thing, except when you do the text, you don't want to do near as much to it because it'll just make it where it's unreadable. So basically, all I do is just one little strip in there, and I just move it over a couple, just like that. So then you can save it and save for web and devices. This is always the best way to save it because it saves it in the most high definition possible. And it saves it. It's pretty nice. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please leave a like and comment below what kind of tutorial you want to see next. I have a bunch of different stuff. Just check out my portfolio. You can see what I do. And yeah, so thank you very much.